just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right, this is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 261. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz, and we are presented by DraftKings. New York Knicks go on the road in Detroit, get a 118-116 Game 3 win. Means the Knicks now lead the series against the Pistons 2-1. Game 4 is on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Nets still waiting for that May 12th date to hit, and the NBA lottery. Last night it hit me in bed. Okay, we're actually approaching this date. I can see it on the calendar. Kind of cool to say out loud. But, of course, we start with our attention on the Knicks that get a much-needed win in Detroit to take the series back in their control 2-1. Alex, good morning. We're recording this on Friday morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. A little tired. Went out for a couple drinks and some wings with some friends last night to watch the game, and it was a good time, and I'm happy they won. Towns showed some balls last night, which was great. Brunson stepped up and acted like the superstar he is. And, all's well in Nickland right now. They're up 2-1, so I'm good to go.
Well, I know it's the morning, so we'll say we're a little subdued, but it is a little different than I think, we'll see how
Let's
much
go!
Yeah, I mean, if I had you last night, I'm sure it would have been a different I'm trying to see how much I can rile you up. I think last night I could have gotten to you a little bit. But
well, yeah,
it does feel like
after a couple drinks.
Yeah, well, it does feel like, I'll pose it this way. Before the series started, you said the Knicks were going to beat the Pistons in 4. They're bums. So every game has been very competitive. Last night I thought was the first time that the Knicks played their best 4 quarters of basketball, even though they were outscored in the second half. You never felt like Detroit. They made that one run where they cut it to it was like 72-71 or something. But the Knicks felt like they always had that 4 to 9 point lead or whatever. It was the best they looked. But overall, these 3 games have been ultra competitive. No way around that. Has your viewpoint changed then of this series from 3 games in, Knicks are up 2-1, than it was when it was 0-0 and you were getting ready for game 1?
A little bit, and it's more of on the Knicks haven't played their best basketball kind of a situation, like you were saying. Like Game 3 was like the best situation. I'm sorry, I'm exhausted. Best ball they played.
Yeah.
And because Game 1, I feel like they felt what I felt, that this would be easy, and they went into it and they just didn't take them seriously. And they needed a miraculous run at the end of the 4th, the 21-0 run to beat them. And they still almost blew it after the 21-0 run. Like, we forget that, too. And then Game 2, a lot of the same, and they couldn't make the miraculous comeback at the end. And that was, like, annoying. And the excuses and the ref complaining and just everything that involves a playoff series, like coaches just complaining and everybody complaining on both sides, really. And it's just draining. Like, I don't care about these coaches complaining every time. I mean, it's not something new. They used to do it.
Yeah.
Riley and Phil Jackson used to do it in the papers, just it was before Twitter, so people don't remember, but either way, no. So my viewpoint has changed a little bit because I think the Knicks are playing down to the competition. And they're way better than the Pistons. And Malik Beasley hasn't shown up yet for this playoff series. And the Tobias Harris had one great game, and he's been Tobias Harris ever since. And it's just it's unbelievable that the Knicks are up 2-1, and it's just they could easily be up 3-0 if it wasn't for Mikal Bridges or down 0-3. Yeah, that's a playoff series, I guess. But
yep.
I don't know. Just long story short. My viewpoint has changed because I think the Knicks are playing down to the competition. Just overall, that's just my final take on that.
Yeah, I disagree on that. But, I said this to you like 6 to 8 weeks ago, and you were like, we haven't seen how good the Knicks can be yet. And I said, well, what if we have? And I think we're almost having that internal debate here where you're saying the Knicks are playing down to their competition. And this just might be who the Knicks are at this point. Like, Detroit's not a bad basketball team. They're really good. They're scrappy. They clearly are lacking another guy before they can probably take that next leap. I mean, they're getting so much from like Dennis Schroder, for example, who has
Tim
been
Hardaway,
Tim
fucking
Hardaway. I mean, they're getting a lot from their veterans.
yeah.
But it does feel like they're still another young piece away. The Pistons. I look at it like, okay, game 3 happened. The Knicks gave everything they had, their best offensive performance overall by far from their starting five. I mean, they didn't really get much from the bench. I will say I felt like even though if you look at the stat line, Mitch didn't have a great game. He had 2 offensive rebounds that led, I believe, to put back dunks. There was the Anunoby one at the end of somewhere, and then there was one early in the fourth. But I felt like Mitch had a couple big impact offensive rebounds on the glass. But overall, from the bench scoring perspective, there wasn't much from the Knicks bench. It was all their starters, but by far their most fluid offensive night from a starter's perspective. And they still just beat Detroit by 2. Beasley doesn't play well. He's not shooting well. He's got to get his act together for Detroit to win this series. And it just feels like to me the Knicks are better, and they could easily go up 5-4-1 and win this series. But the difference level isn't as it isn't as broad as you might think it is.
Talent wise, I think the difference level is still
Well,
dramatic.
but I'm talking about wins
Yeah,
and losses. I mean,
just team
just
wise,
just
team
team wise,
performance.
it's like the Knicks are. I mean, clearly the better team. I mean, they're favored in these games. They should be, but for whatever reason, like even last night, Detroit's. I mean, the score wasn't it was a 2-point loss. They probably lost by more when we could talk about the ending, which was fantastic.
Yeah, we'll do that later.
But Detroit after all that was still in the Knicks had a great run to end the second quarter, a great run. Pistons came out in the third and closed the gap again. Like they're just in these games. They are.
So, if let me ask you a question. If the Knicks, on paper, the Knicks are way more talented than the Pistons, you know, so if they're playing down to the competition, then whose fault is that?
So it's the team's fault. I mean,
Not
if
the coach?
well,
I mean,
he's part of the team. Yeah, it's
okay.
all of it. I mean,
I mean, who
it's
on the
like
team's fault
it's
is it?
like
Yeah.
any. I mean, it's just like anything, like chemistry,
Yeah.
balance, defense. It's a combination of things, right? Like
Mhm.
we talked about this a few weeks ago. Do you think last year's Knicks team beats this year's Knicks team in the playoffs?
That's tough to say. I mean, we never really saw last year's Knicks team completely healthy without Julius Randle, so it's tough to say,
The version that was up
in the
2-0 on the
playoffs.
Pacers.
I don't think so. I think this team would still win. I mean, it would be tough, probably go 7, but
I would hate both of those teams so much. That'd be the worst game for me to ever watch.
I wonder if Jalen Brunson will guard Jalen Brunson. I mean,
They both would be they'd be flop baiting both of them. They'd hate each other.
oh man, that's so overblown. But anyway, it's
Not
just become
really.
the new
A little,
fun narrative. I hate watching Jalen Brunson play basketball. You don't
right.
even watch basketball.
Well,
Like,
to me,
most
it's
people who are saying that.
I don't have a pro. I mean, this is just the way basketball is. It's
Right.
more funny when Nick fans defending him, but then we're also hating on Trey Young. But that was different. Like it's the same shit, you know. And Trey's great, right?
Yeah.
But like I can't hear people shit on him and then defend Brunson as different. I mean, that to me is just putting on your orange and blue
Well,
sunglasses.
it's
Like
also
fuck it.
attitude and demeanor for Jalen Brunson. There's a lot more than just the style of play. You know what I mean?
But
Jalen
he's your
Brunson's
guy. He's
a
your
lot.
guy.
He's a lot tougher. He's a lot better than Trey Young. He
But
plays.
he's your guy. So
Clutch
that's
player of the
bias.
year.
But that's biases. You're
It's not
giving the
bias.
bias.
He's a better player. You know
So
what I mean?
then,
Like it's the
but he's on your
style,
team.
sure.
If Trey Young was a Nick, they'd be talking
Of
about how the
course.
swagger. Oh, you come into New
If
York
Trey
and
Young
you
was
have. Come on.
if Trey Young was a Nick, I'd be a fan of him. But he's not. And Jalen
Right.
Brunson would, and I would still be like Jalen Brunson's a better player. You know what I mean? Like Giannis is a better player than Jalen Brunson. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, I could still say a player's better. You know what I mean? Or
But to
Harden
use
back in
that,
the day.
but
You know?
to use that as the rationale why it's okay to accept Brunson foul baiting and not Trey. I mean, ultimately, you want to get into the nuance of yes, he's a overall better NBA basketball player. Absolutely, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he isn't. But to me, the hypocrisy of a Nick fan having a problem with what Trey Young did, but then defending Brunson, at least like, just admit it. Like I said this when the Nets got Harden. It's so nice to have a guy that gets all the fucking calls, that gets all this bullshit. I'm so used to it the other way around. I liked it. I embraced it.
Right. No, it's listen, he gets the fouls and he does what he has to do to make sure he gets to the line, and he doesn't always get to the line. It's not like James Harden where he was at the line like 30 times a game. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean? Like
The
back
peak
in
Harden of it, yeah.
peak Harden was ridiculous. And the same thing was SGA right now too. It's ridiculous. But at the same time, and nobody calls SGA a foul baiter. They're just like, oh, he's always at the line. You know, he must be tough. You know, because OKC is the anointed crown team, and you know everybody just has
They're
to
good.
prop them up with everything that they do. I mean, I know they're great. They're great on paper. They're blowing out a terrible team in the first round, and let's see how they do in the second round. But with Jalen Brunson, I feel like Windhorst put this moniker on him, and all the casuals ran with it, and they're throwing him down this rabbit hole of shit. And you got these people with great giant platforms that barely watch the Knicks that are just being like, I hate watching Jalen Brunson play. He's not fun to watch play basketball. I was with a friend last night who was saying the same thing going into it. Oh, people just don't like him and this, and I don't like watching him play. And then by the end of the game, I'm like, Jalen Brunson's killing it. Like, what are you, 29, 8, and 7 or something like that? And I mean, around those stats. And it was just like, he's not foul baiting tonight. He's like, no, tonight was good. Like, oh, give me a fucking break then. You know what I mean? Like, it's not every game. It's so overblown. Like, yeah, he's going to try to draw a foul like any NBA player would, like
So
any star would.
Was it overblown with Trae Young?
No. Trae Young does do that stuff, but also he's not as good as Jalen Brunson, so he can't get away with doing more as Jalen Brunson does.
I'm
You
just
know what I'm saying?
the
Like,
casuals did the same thing with Trey. They did the same thing. The Knicks fans did the same thing. It's like just admit the hypocrisy of all of it. Like
every fan is
okay.
a hypocrite in some way, for sure.
Thank
But
you.
also,
Thank you.
Jalen Brunson doesn't do it as much as he's portrayed to do it. You know what I
Maybe
mean?
the
He's-
same could be said for Young.
Oh God! All right, so
All
we're
right.
just gonna keep going in circles.
Yeah, no, I will. I mean, we'll let this circle go 360 all day. I'm ready to do it. I mean, we can go front, we can go back, any way you want it.
Yes, 360.
The
Not a
end
180.
of the end of that game was hysterical. From I mean, if I'm sure everybody.
So explain it.
listening-
Yeah, just
I'm sure
explain it,
everybody
yeah.
listening obviously saw this,
But just remind the public. Yeah.
Tobias Harris hit a 3 to cut the lead from 4 to 1. The Pistons out of timeout, so there's an inbound pass to Jalen Brunson. He gets the ball. He's fouled. There's 0.5 on the clock.
Because he's such a foul baiter, right?
Well, at that point, yeah. So he makes the first free throw to put him up by 2. There's half a second left. You see a conversation on the sideline. What do we do? What do we do? I think Rick Brunson and Jalen Rose are telling him what to do at that point.
Jalen Rose.
I mean, he was like right there.
And he was a Nick too. Once a Nick, always a Nick. I guess unless you're Jalen Rose.
You know, the
I know.
Detroit
I'm
connection.
kidding. I'm
But,
kidding.
was he? I guess he was a Nick.
He was never a Piston. He was once a Nick. So
So he he gets the instructions on the third free throw, miss it on purpose with half a second left to get the rebound and throw it the length of the basketball court and make that is virtually I mean, you would have to catch it and just heave it over your head or whatever.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So he misses it. Really well placed missed shot from Brunson, but the shot clock operator blows the whistle or blows the game over. It zeros on the clock before anybody on Detroit can get the rebound. And I guess technically by the rule, that means a Pistons inbound. So it hurts the Knicks because now they're only up 2. And the Pistons get a sideline, granted on the opposite end of the court, with an opportunity to tie or win the game. Horrible pass, goes out of bounds, never even attempt a shot. But it was just, I was just thinking, if this is how the Pistons win this game, I mean, this would be the greatest. That would probably be and I would say the most unfair loss in playoff history for a team. And I was rooting for it, but it didn't happen.
yeah, honestly, there needs to be an investigation from the NBA on the Pistons for that, because there's no way that was an accident. That was completely planned. They knew exactly what they were doing. They ran the clock out. They didn't touch the ball. The Pistons didn't touch the ball. They were told not to touch the ball. And then the clock went out and they got to go to the sideline and get an out of bounds play to try potentially win the game. You can't tell me that was by accident. You can't tell me that was a coincidence. You can't tell me the shot clock operator or the time clock operator is not from Detroit, is not a Pistons fan, has not been working there all season for years. It's a bunch of bullshit. And the Knicks really almost got robbed the playoff game, and the Pistons need to be fined or something needs to happen for them, because that is ridiculous. That can't happen again. I know there's always the clock operators at every arena is going to run it down a second, a point one, a point two when you can to end the game in whatever way fashion. And you can't tell me that doesn't happen. This was not by accident. This was on purpose, and there needs to be an investigation by the NBA. And I'm dead serious.
So when there's 0.5 on the clock and this happens, is this something planned by the Pistons that are telling the operator to do this, or was this led by the operator? Who is in charge of this in this conspiracy that you're talking about? Who was in charge of it? Was it the Pistons bench going to the operator telling him or her what to do, or was the operator giving the instructions to the Pistons bench?
I think it's planned way before. I think in this situation, it's planned way before in advance, and they're told, like, in this situation, if this ever happens, blow the play dead, run the clock, end the game. End the game. I don't know who does it, but the coach, who knows? But whoever it is goes to the clock.
So this is the Pistons organization, or is this something like who is giving the?
What do you mean? Of course, it's the Pistons. What the hell are you talking about?
So what I'm talking about is in the conspiracy you're talking about. So before the game, they say when there's 0.5 on.
I'm not saying before the game, that game, they know what's going to happen. I'm saying at some point in the season, they talk to the clock operators and they say, "Listen, this is what's going to happen in a situation when this happens, and run the clock out, and we're not going to touch the ball." You can't explain to me why they went for the rebound and Cade Cunningham goes like this with his hands up in the air and doesn't touch the ball, and then it hits the ground. There's never been a situation in the NBA where this has happened and anybody knew this rule. 95% of the public, that diehard NBA fans that are watching this game, had no idea what was going on. Even Towns was making a joke about it after the game. Is like, shout out to the table, he said, because they got the Pistons an extra shot. They were cheating and they got caught, and they're lucky that the Pistons didn't win the game on that play, because it would have been a protest and it would have been hell to pay from the NBA in that situation.
Totally agree on that part. I just fundamentally don't think that a conspiracy was contrived by the Pistons to tell the shot clock operator.
It's not a conspiracy. It's a plan, and it's good. Well, it's smart. Honestly, it's smart. It's a way that you can get an edge. And you can't tell me that when teams don't think of everything.
When JFK was assassinated, it was a plan. There's still a conspiracy. Both are true. Yes, there's a plan in place. So you do something. You got to plan it. I just can't.
Well, conspiracy says, when you use that word conspiracy, you make it like it's bullshit. That's conspiracy means bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
If you're telling me that the Pistons and the shot clock operator had a plan in place with 0.5 seconds on the clock, this is what you do. You are giving me a conspiracy. You are.
It's not, to me, it's not a conspiracy. To me, it's true.
I know it isn't.
I don't see how you can see that and make it believe in your head that it was just something that was a complete coincidence.
That the shot clock operator fucked up. I think it was
they fucked up in that exact moment to give the Pistons an exact shot when they're down by 2 at home in a playoff game. They knew the Knicks were going to miss, and out of nowhere, the Pistons just get an out of bounds play. Come on, man. No, you just hate the Knicks. I just admit you just hate the Knicks. And you don't want to make it like if the Knicks got screwed there when they did.
I just come from a rational position.
You're not rational. You're not rational. You're not rational.
I think when people review this tape and they hear you calling me irrational, will have their own opinion on it.
I said you're not rational. I didn't say irrational.
Because I don't believe all the things that you're jotting down. Like, I'm sorry, but I
think you just hate the Knicks. I think you just hate the Knicks, and you can't give the fact that the Knicks got screwed there.
They did get screwed. They did get screwed. It was an embarrassment.
But you think it's just you just think it's a coincidence. You just think it's a coincidence.
Correct. I don't think
that's bullshit.
Pistons and the shot clock operator. No.
So you think that there's no way that a Pistons person at some point in the season or over the last, let's say this guy,
shot clock operator, it's a neutral shot clock operator, and you're just gonna.
So the person who's the shot clock operator is flown in from another city for every game that works at the arena.
It's a non-fan of the team.
Oh, bullshit! They live in Detroit. There's one team. They're a fan of the Pistons.
But now you're bending the facts to fit.
I'm not bending any facts. So you think in a small city, you've worked in small cities. You've worked in Pittsburgh. You've worked in these areas.
I haven't worked in Pittsburgh.
Do you think that there is anybody in whatever you didn't work wherever you worked, right? You think that where'd you Charlottesville, right? Right. So let's say there's a Virginia person when you worked at the University of Virginia. Do you think that there's anybody working in that stadium that's not a fan of the team?
For the playoff games, the NBA puts in non-fans of either team. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, so if you want to call it bullshit, so it fits your conspiracy. That's what you want to do.
Well, if it comes out that this person was flown in from another state and they live somewhere else and they're not born and raised in Detroit or they don't live in Detroit, then I'll believe you. But if you're telling me this person who was the clock operator is from Detroit, I don't believe it. I think it was all
do you think
planned
they
from
were
the start.
paid in this scenario?
Paid off? No, I think they just worked there and they're a fan of the team. Mike, if you were a fan of the Nets and you were working as a clock operator, would you have cheated for the Nets? If you were working as a clock operator in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, would you try to cheat for the Nets?
No, no, definitely not.
Oh, come on.
I wouldn't try
come on, Mike.
Alex,
come on.
As crazy as this sounds, I would actually have more integrity for myself than to fuck up an NBA clock to try to win it for my team. No way.
You've never seen a clock run out 0.2 seconds down when the game was over in any arena in any basketball game. In all the basketball games you ever watched, you've never seen a clock run out quicker than it should have.
Of course I have.
And why do you think that happens?
But you're asking.
Why do you think that happens?
If I can answer your first question, you asked me if I would do that. I'm telling you what I would do.
Okay, what you would do?
I would not do that. First of all, I would not go in there and have the integrity of the game and be like, I'm going to control the outcome. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. If I was in Detroit, I wouldn't do that for the Pistons.
Okay.
Because bigger for me. You think I would put myself in that position? Hell no. That's craziness.
I mean, it's not like it's $1 million job. What the fuck do you care?
But Alex, I'm not. I don't know. I'm a decent human being. Like I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna help the Nets out because I know.
Mike, would you take a shot of steroids Would you take a shot of steroids in the '90s to hit 70 home runs so you can make $100 million?
Would I take if I'm that
like let's say all you had to do to make the difference between you being a minor league baseball player and being a star baseball player, would you take a shot of steroids?
That's a very different conversation.
How?
Because you're talking about a person that makes no money going in to try to help their team win a playoff game or become a bajillionaire.
Mike, what would you give up for the Nets to win a title?
What would I give up for the Nets to win a title?
Would you cut off a finger for the Nets to win a title?
No, I would not.
What would you give up for the Nets to win a title? What's the most important thing in the world to you that you would give up?
This podcast? No, I'm just what's the most important thing I would give up?
Would you give up your job for the Nets to win a title?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like, I don't know how to answer these questions because, like, what would I give up? Like, there's things in my life that are like non-give ups, right? I'm not going to say
right. You're not your wife, your kids, your house, your this.
There's common sense things, right? Like, obviously, you're not giving up this. Like, this is your life. This is the core of the people or whatever, the foundation of your life. We'll give up a job. It's like, well, I need to earn money. So I guess, then at the same time, like, I can't support.
Would you give up your most prized Nets possessions?
Yes.
The Nets someone at the time.
That anything like that. It's almost, I think
give up your TV.
It's a weird question because it's like, there's a pool of things that are non-negotiable and then everything else.
Right.
So if you give me scenarios, I can answer the question. Like, I'll just start at my house, things I would not give up right now.
Okay, so
I don't even want to say it because it's just sick. But I'll say my family and my cat, like,
there's
not leaving.
Fine, then you're normal with that because there's a lot of people who say, "I would cut off my pinky toe to win a title." Like, no, you fucking wouldn't. Like, you know what I mean? I was always laughing at people like that.
I guess it's like, okay, what am I gonna do? We're gonna go to the shop downtown. They're gonna get out the saw and they're gonna be like, "All right, give me your pinky toe," and then I'm just gonna like let it get sawed the fuck off. Like,
now the Nets are awarded a championship. Congratulations, hang the banner.
Let me put it this way: if somebody came to my house. And there was like, remember when we were in woodworking or in construction at a house?
Yeah, like gotta go through the
and that thing is rolling, and they say it's Game 7, Nets versus the Suns in the NBA Finals. I'm probably rooting for the Suns. I mean, maybe get me in that moment. I might say differently, but with that saw going, like. I'd be like, shoot me up with everything.
It's like that movie, Celtic Pride, where they're big Celtics fans and they kidnap Damon Wayans, who's the jazz player, and then they end up rooting for the Jazz at the end because he was kidnapped, so he wouldn't tell him.
It's crazy you say that because I'm a sicko. In my head, I've thought of like, there's only 2 scenarios where I could ever root for the Knicks. One is somebody's like, I'll take like if the Knicks don't win a championship, we'll take your life. I mean, I'm gonna root for the Knicks.
Right, kidnap someone.
If my son was on the Knicks, like, I'd be a Knicks fan. Like, how could I?
Right. For the time that he's on the team, and then after that, forget it.
Right. But I mean, anybody that says differently on stuff like that, just like you're just nuts, man. Right. I mean, this round, I mean, honestly, actually, but this, I mean, I enjoyed Game 2 a lot, and I do want to talk about Dennis Schroder for a second because it's a net related item to it. But like I said before, I've said this all season. Get me to that Knicks Celtics series, and the Celtics have injury issues. Like, that's when I'll start to get a little annoyed and worried. Now it's just if the Pistons can beat the Knicks, this is all bonus gravy of beauty. But I mean, the Knicks
Yeah.
had title expectations. If they lost to the Pistons, it'd be, I mean, an epic disaster.
Everybody be fired. Yeah.
So,
well, not everybody, but
like, I
Tibbs
can't.
probably.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm just until they get to that moment or the Cav
I
moment.
just
It's just hard for me
yeah.
on that.
To finish the clock thing, we got really sidetracked, but the finish the clock thing, like my point is that you've seen and you've watched 1,000 NBA games, maybe more. And you've seen at the end of games, at the end of quarters, at the end of halves, the home clock person runs the clock out really quick. A lot. Especially when the opponent has the ball. That clock is not they're pressing that button real quick. Like, you know what I mean?
could
Or
believe
the other way around where like if like let's say the home team has the ball and they're down 2, they might take a little like 3.3 seconds before they start the clock. So you can't tell me that it's an accident. We're just gonna have to disagree on that.
I can tell you.
Well, you can tell me, but you can't
stop
convince me. You can't convince me.
that.
Otherwise.
I can't do. No, I can't do that. I could believe that the operator screwed up or was trying to do something, but that there is some sort of connection that the Pistons told him to do this. I can't get behind.
But then why didn't they
just
grab
can't
the
do it.
rebound and just fling it? Like, why did Cade just go like this with his hands like this?
When you hear
up
the
in air?
buzzer go off and your instincts, like you've never been in that situation.
I've never
So when
seen
you're
a
going
player
for
not grab the rebound. I've never seen a player not grab the.
I don't think anybody's ever seen that
That's the-
scenario before.
Yeah.
So
that's the point.
But that is the point. So then to say to Cade, why didn't you do that? It's like, well, he's never seen this before. So
I
now
want to
you're
hear
gonna
somebody
explain
ask him
what
that
he
question.
should not be doing.
Yeah, we
would
need
be
to
a good
go.
question
We need to get
to
our
ask.
intern to go through all the Pistons post game and find out if anybody asked anybody that question. Why didn't you grab the rebound?
And I'll be the intern, and I'll here's the cut from Cade. I heard the buzzer. I was confused. I didn't touch the ball.
How can Cade be confused? Like that's ridiculous.
I think with 0.5 and you, it's just
What's
a weird-
confusing?
It's just a
What
new
is confusing?
scenario for anybody. I think
that
anybody
the buzzer went off in a game. I mean,
think
I don't
to
think
give-
that's he's played
it's just
hundreds of
It's
games.
just humans being humans, man. I can't I can't give you.
So you're
this,
telling me the
like-
number one pick in the draft, who's led the Pistons on a resurrection this year, have just was like, got confused by a buzzer and grabbing the rebound.
It's like, hey, this is JB Biggerstaff. Here's the deal. If there's 0.5 on the clock, if this ever happens, here's the plan. I want you to come in and tell this. And if you don't do it, we're gonna saw off your pinky toe.
You can't tell me that a clock operator doesn't know the rules.
tell you.
They don't know the rules. You know, it's
I can
an
tell you.
expression. Stop going.
We
You
talk about
can't
Dennis
convince
Schroder.
me.
Can
Fine.
we talk about Dennis Schroder.
Dennis Schroder, what a pain in the fucking ass that guy is, man. Holy shit.
I've been annoyed with people talking about like, I can't believe Schroder is doing this. I can't. And
Of course you can.
Any Net fan who saw this season was like, the Nets. Remember when I'm like, oh my God, the Nets are winning all these games early? I'm like, it's because of this man. He was helping them win games.
He's been annoying since he was on the Hawks, bro. Like he's been around.
Good.
He's a good player.
But I think to your point about casuals, it's like if you don't watch the NBA and you're just like, oh, Dennis Schroder is here.
Who's
I'm
this
not
guy?
concerned or thinking about him as even being impacted in these playoffs. But I think anybody that's watched him, especially as a Net fan over the last year, it's like this guy, when they traded Dinwiddie for him, he brought instant stability to the Nets at the point guard position. They were 9-11 to start the year, 10 and 11, whatever it was.
Good enough, like not tanking. That's why they had to get rid of him. They're like, whoa, get this guy out of here. He's too good.
Get this guy out of here. And this was before then they brought D'Lo in, but he was really organizing and helping this team win basketball games. So
stood up for
I'm
Ben
like,
Simmons
I'm not
at one
surprised
time,
he's
right?
playing
Like,
well.
yeah,
And that annoyed me. Where it's like, oh man, I can't believe Dennis Schroeder's doing this. He's garbage. He's been on 25 teams the last 8 years. It's like, well, he's a good veteran point guard to have
with a good contract to trade.
Sense.
Yeah, it's a good tradable contract. Sorry, I keep talking over you. I just had to
apology accepted. Yeah. So I just wanted to get that point across. Like, I'm not saying Dennis Schroeder is top level player. He's not Jalen Brunson, but he's a good NBA player, and he's shown in the playoffs with a younger Pistons team with their star and Cade. I mean, I get it. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
And listen, he missed the Stone Cold. He missed his bag getting opportunity where he like bet on himself and he lost kind of a thing. Remember, he had a big contract.
That's in there too. That's how people have that in their mind. Yeah,
and he also that was he bet on himself. He lost kind of like Pete Alonso 2 years ago or a year ago, whatever. But now he may cash in because he's on fire. But anyway, what was the point? Oh, he's a really good player on a really good contract, so he can be traded. Like Tobias Harris was traded like 10 times in his first 5 years because he's a really good player on a really good contract, and he's not great, he's not terrible, but he's not paid too much, so you can add him to a trade very easily. And, he was an adult in the room. And that's why I thought the Nets would start off really well. I said this on Dexter Henry's show, and he got a New York Got Game. I said
Yeah.
the Nets are going to start off great. They have a lot of good veteran players around some bad players. And we didn't know about the coach. And the coach ended up being great. So, and I'm happy now. The Nets probably won't win the lottery. And, we'll see
We'll
what
see,
happens.
man. I said this when we started the show right at the
Yeah.
top, but April 25th, we're recording this. May 12th is the lottery, so it'll be 2 weeks from Monday.
My dad's birthday.
I can at least see it now. I mean, honestly, Alex, when you're in the thick of it, and you know this from the Knicks 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was with the Zion John Morant draft, and when they got RJ Barrett, you're thick in the weeds and all the tanking. Now, granted, of course, I wish they had better lottery odds, but at least now it's here and you can see it and you can smell it. And I'm just so excited for it. And at least from that date, it'll give the Nets a direction and give Net fans an understanding of what's happening. With the Pacers up 2-0 on the Bucks. You're seeing, Giannis rumors pick up, even if they're all completely false. You saw Trae Young news. We talked about him earlier in the show. You're hearing the Hawks making changes in their management. What does that impact on Trae Young? I'm not saying the right direction, but at least there is something the Nets to have some focus on as a fan. Now, I know a lot of the fans wouldn't want Trae, wouldn't want Giannis, and ultimately, I'm with you. It wouldn't lead to the best, I think, possible direction to win a championship. But at least there's just conversations to have. And I'll just say on that, like, if the Nets win in this win now centered move, let's say they get the 6th pick, they draft a high lottery pick, they trade for Giannis, like, they're not going to win a title. They'll be better than last year. I hope they don't go in that direction, but I'd be lying if the Nets traded for Giannis and I wouldn't be excited.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, the Nets got through their short-term tank year, and that sucks. It always sucks to go through it.
But will they do it again is the question.
I don't think so. I think long-term tanking is not a very helpful thing for an organization. Like, you see what the Sixers did. I mean, that was it on steroids, but like long-term tanking is terrible for an organization. It's terrible for the NBA. You have a really good coach. You don't want to waste him. He might just get fed up too at some point. You gotta try to win at some point. You want to take 1 year and get the top pick, get the top 10 pick, and then move on. Fine, but because you have all these picks, try to win now. Try to win. Try to get keep Cam Thomas, trade some guys. And just build your team. It's okay to be like ascending. We always talk about this on the podcast. The Nets, like, they went down and then they hit the bottom this year, and that's it. They hit the bottom. They wanted to be at the bottom. They didn't tank well enough, but maybe they did. They could get lucky in the lottery. Now you have to ascend. Now you have to start going up. Like, if you want to make a Knicks reference, now you have to be the Knicks in 2020. You know what I mean? Or 20, like, get RJ Barrett, get your Emmanuel quickly, get some guys in there, even if they're not stars, just get them in there and build your team and make it fun for the fans. And fans get excited by 40 wins, because you have a young team that's growing and you never know. You have the never know thing. And then you can pounce on a star down the road when you're an average team, because the stars are going to want to play for an average team. Then they can put them over the top. No one's going to sign with a team that wins 10 games. Or want to get traded to a team that wins 10 games. Giannis will reject any trade, even if he doesn't have a no trade clause. NBA players have no trade clauses without having them. They can just be like, no, I'm not going there. And it won't happen,
I guess seeing what happens on the lottery too will dictate a lot of this, but it might be worth it to do it one more time to get one more guy and then start what you're talking about.
But can you, though? I mean, like, can you do that again?
It's like, can you from what sense?
Just from an organizational purpose, like a business purpose. Like, can you do that again, especially with this coach who's going to win?
I think,
and he's going to win some games.
I don't think.
I'm not saying go all in and get Giannis and Trae Young and try to just build this super team like you did the last time. I think you can just take your draft picks, just take all your picks, maybe trade down a couple picks and get some more players and just get some guys in there, maybe punt on one of the first round picks this year and go into the future and get some more picks. Just get some guys in there, sign some veterans like a Dennis Schroeder's types, and just try to win some games and just be better. And you still have all these picks that, other teams can lose, and you can still have a good draft pick,
When I went to the Nets Knicks game to end the season a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
Right outside in like the tunnel area outside the locker room, I saw Eric Slater, who does an amazing job.
Yeah.
Out. He's
good.
a great great follow and does great reporting on the Nets. I was kind of talking about this with him, and he was just saying like his sense from being around, and I want to paraphrase here, but like that this wasn't easy for the Nets to do because of like it's just hard on the day in day out to be like this. So I don't know. I just get the sense I think they're probably done with it. I
Yeah,
don't think they'll do it again.
it's not conducive to developing talent either. Like you look at the Sixers, what they did, and you can't you lost a lot of good players in those years because
They
they
still
were just
didn't
like
draft well enough though, too, Alex. And
that's
I think
true.
that's a big
And they never
problem
won the
with it.
lottery until like down the road when they got
Like
Ben Simmons
Embiid,
and Fultz actually. Yeah, but yeah.
I mean Embiid
Well, they didn't win with
obviously.
Fultz, right? They traded that.
Well,
Never mind.
They traded Tatum
Tatum for
Fultz.
Fultz.
I mean, that's an epic. I mean, like if you look at the
Yeah.
steps there, like let's say they don't make that trade,
hmm
you're talking
They
about
got
the
Noel
Sixers are
also. Yeah.
brilliant,
Yeah.
like brilliant,
Right. You have Tatum and Embiid, young Tatum
right?
and young
Wrong,
Embiid.
yeah, and
That's insane.
but
And
I
Ben
mean, you
Simmons
look.
when he could play.
Someone has to do a documentary about the tanking Sixers
Oh, they
because
will.
it's so interesting. And
Spike
just
Eskin will
everything
do
they
it.
went through with
Yeah.
like, and just all the drama that surrounds it with
Mhm.
what happened to Simmons in itself.
And
It's just
Fultz, both of them, they fucking both had mental issues, like mental issues. But
crazy.
you know what I mean? Like they both like forgot
No,
how to shoot or just got scared of shooting, and it's
I
crazy.
mean, honestly, like some wild stuff. I mean, that
Yeah,
Sixers team that the Nets beat the Sixers and got the first game and then lost in five. But that team with Jimmy Butler,
that was a
Ben
team. Yeah,
Simmons, Ben Simmons, like
real Ben
great Ben
Simmons.
Simmons,
Yeah,
Embiid still younger
Tobias,
and can move. Tobias Harris, Mike Scott, who killed the Nets in that series.
Mike
Wah.
Scott. Oh, name drop.
I mean,
Who
they
was their
lost
coach
that.
again? Who was their? Was it Doc?
No, it
No,
was Brett Brown, right?
I don't remember. Honestly,
They had, I mean, or was it? No, I think it was Brett Brown, I think.
I honestly you could
Um,
tell me. I have no idea.
remember that they lost the second round to the
Yeah.
Raptors. That was that epic Kawhi Leonard game 7 double rim shot. Like
Oh yeah. See, yeah, that's how they lose on some heartbreaking crap.
Raptors
Yeah,
Raptors win
win
the
the
title.
title.
Sixers.
Could have won it easily. Not easily, but they could have won it that year for sure. That was their year. And
Yeah, that's why I talk about Sixers fans all the time. Like when they're 3 years after that, and they're in why the indifference in the fan base is because they know at that point their team sucks.
right. So Nets winning the lottery, yes or no? Let's hear it. Or you
No,
want to do a sim? You want to do a sim or too much now?
I'll do one sim. Just
One
give me
sim?
if you can.
One sim, everybody
I don't
knows the
know if
rule.
I
Mike's
can.
NBA
I've gotten
lottery
to the
sim.
point where I don't think I can type.
Well, just do the sim. You don't have to do
No,
the screen
we have
share.
to do the whole thing. It's fun.
Okay. Okay.
All right, hang tight. Let me share.
So
my
Mike is
screen.
going to do his lottery sim on Tankathon. One sim. Everyone knows the rules.
What I
And we'll
like
see
to
if
do
the
with
Nets
this.
win the lottery.
First of all, can you see my screen?
I see. Yes.
You see my
I see it.
okay.
Okay. There we
So
go.
I'm gonna sim and then I'm gonna scroll down. So we'll do it
Shout out to
like
Geico. Yeah, on the ad.
all right. Okay, so it's been simmed.
The Nets have so many bottom of the first round picks.
So here's the
Three.
Rockets pick, the Knicks pick, and then the Bucks pick.
And, yeah. So
See, they
19,
won 8 in a
26,
row.
and
That could have
27.
been
Yeah.
what is that? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're like, it could have been 17. It's like, okay, who was the better pick last year in the draft, 17 or 19?
Yeah. Well, wasn't Kawhi 17? No.
Kawhi was
14?
13, 15, 15.
Yeah,
I know
something
Giannis
like that.
was 15. All right, here we go.
Okay.
We're in the lottery. Oh, it looks like
So just read them
Oh,
off.
I went
Atlanta,
too fast.
Sac.
That's
Atlanta. Okay,
I
whatever.
blew it. I went too fast with my screen. That's 8. They go down 2 spots.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
See, that's
Well,
that's
who won the lottery
scary
in
part.
this? Who won it?
Toronto. That's what we talk
Up
about. 'em.
6. Wow. And Philly, too.
See, that's the scary part to me is not the aspects of 9.5% chance compared to 14% chance of landing number 1. Like that's not a huge difference. It's the fact that they have like a 60% chance of going down or whatever.
Either way, it's incredibly bad odds no matter what. 14 or 9 is not a lot. It's not a high
No.
percentage.
It's
It's not like it's 50.
It's
You
though
know,
if
so-
you land
Yeah.
if you're the worst, you have a 50% chance. You know you're landing in the top 5.
Right.
That's yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Like, just make it a real lottery, like ping pong balls, like it used to be. Like, just actual ping pong balls. Put them in a thing.
Yeah, but
not
you have
some
to
freaking
give better odds for the worst team.
But then people won't tank as much. If like, you know what I mean? Like, no matter what, if you're not in the playoffs, you have the same
But-
amount of chance of getting the first
Yeah,
pick
but
as the
here's-
worst team.
Here's
Then
the
you're not going to
problem.
tank.
the whole idea of like the draft is that the worst teams get the better players so that they can get better and even it out. If you're given like the team that just misses
The
the
Hawks,
playoffs
yeah, like the Hawks and
the
the.
same lottery odds,
I think
it's
that'd be
going to
great.
disrupt the league.
I think it'd be great because the league sucks with all the tanking. You know what I mean? And it'll
Well,
be
that's
like
true
actually
too.
more competitive games, and people will care more about trying to make the play. Like little things like that will help the NBA.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
instead,
but I
Adam
just don't know
Silver
how
will
you
do like a
can.
round robin tournament or some bullshit like that you'll love, of course. You know,
I don't know.
anything
I
quirky,
would
Mike
say
loves. Yeah.
this. That actually would be like, let's say they did a round robin tournament and it was the last, the Nets are in this and they had to win to be worse. It would be at least something to like,
But the
it would
players
sit
won't
there.
care.
It would
Why
be
would the players
stupid.
care?
If okay, so
You
let's
got to
say
give
they
them a
did,
bonus of some shit. Otherwise,
let,
they're not going to care. You know.
you mean the players?
The players. Why would they care? Why would some player give a damn? You
No,
know what I mean? Like,
no, you got to
unless you're
have
Trey
money.
Young, who's got this multi-year contract.
You
If
get,
you have a
no, they
1 year deal and
wouldn't.
you're
The
expiring,
fans
you're
would
not going to
care
give a
though.
shit. You're not
The
going to
fans
show
would
up.
care.
Yeah, but like you have to give them something. Like the players care about the in-season tournament because they get a
They
$500,000 bonus. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
No, I don't know how to answer that. It'd be impossible.
that's why you
There'd
can't
have to
do
be
it.
money.
Yeah, yeah.
I think players though are competitive, and once they get on the basketball court,
Hmm.
and a lot of these teams, I'm stretching here, I admit that, but a lot of these teams have guys that are looking, they're playing for their NBA lives. I mean, look at the
Right.
Nets roster this year. You saw it in that last game of the season. Um, they would. I don't think. I think if you put on the court essentially G League plus and lower NBA level players, they'd give everything they have,
Right, because
even
they want to
though
put some stuff
the
on tape for
right. It's not like
themselves. Yeah, yeah.
okay, if Kyle Kuzma's still on Washington and he doesn't get traded to Milwaukee, is he playing? Absolutely
He's
not.
like, no, I'm out. Yeah, I'm gonna hurt my ankle. You know, some shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, bad weather fans. Here we go.
Yeah. Let's go, Mets.
Yeah, I know Mets have played well. They've been nice to have on. They've
So
been a lot
Jackson
of day
Dart, real
games
quick, are
too.
you excited? I know you texted me last night. You hope he's good. Do you know anything about him, Jackson Dart?
I Googled him this morning, and the only thing that I found, I haven't done a deep enough search, but that his
Yeah.
birthday is May 13th. My
Oh,
birthday is May 10th. But what made it weird for me was he's turning 22. I'm turning 42. So I'm like, I'm double his age. I mean, I'm
you could be
basically
his
double his
dad.
age.
You
I
could be
could
his
be his
dad.
dad.
Yeah,
Right.
that'd be
I'm
cool.
Jackson Dart's dad. I'm
Mike
Mike
Dart.
Dart. What?
I said Mike Dart.
I'm
Yeah,
Mike Dart.
yeah.
I mean, I
No,
could
I
be his
mean,
dad. Yeah, I mean, I had sperm at that point. I could be his dad.
yeah, 20 years old, man. Of course, that's all you were doing was producing sperm.
Still
You
all
know.
I'm doing.
No, and listen. The draft is funny, and it's so stretched out now. We were at a bar watching the Knick game with my friends last night, and like we're like halfway through the Knick game. We're like, they're only up to like the sixth pick. Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
You know,
I just
they
had it on my
drag the first
phone.
round out. It,
I was
it's
going to the
just
basketball game.
right. They drag it out so much, and so it makes it feel like when Shador Sanders falls to the second round, it makes it feel so much bigger because it's like the next day. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I guess the same thing happened with Geno Smith when the Jets drafted him in the second round, but like. It used to fall, and I used to. I mean, this draft has been this way for years now, but like it used to fall, and just you wait in like extra couple hours. You know what I mean? Not like you're sitting in the green room
It's
by yourself.
crazy.
You know?
It's crazy, and I listen to a lot of local talk radio, like,
Yeah,
and I would have done the same thing. So I'm not saying it's like but it's just funny how the narrative nationally was so skewed that it was like a lock to be the second pick or third pick. And
right.
then he doesn't get drafted in the first round. And I understand it's not like 30 teams passed on him. It's, like the Chiefs aren't drafting him. Like teams that have quarterbacks
Right. Once you
aren't
get
going
past a
in that
certain pick,
direction.
yeah.
But it's just still interesting how such a
Hmm.
big swing and a miss from that perspective. And then the Giants, who need a quarterback, I know they have like 84 now, but they trade into the first round and they don't even take them.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. It
But
was
who
just
am
a
I
hype
to say
machine.
like who's going to be better?
Listen,
I'd be completely lying. Like for me, it'd be fun to have Sanders because of everything that
it's
I
exciting.
know about
Yeah.
him and his dad. Like that would
Yeah.
give me more excitement for actually getting on the football field. I have no clue. I mean, nobody.
Right. Who cares about excitement? You want to see the player, and
Right.
maybe he's good. Who knows if Dart's good or not? But like,
Probably
kind of
not.
like
I mean,
Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was the last pick in the first round. The Ravens traded up to get that last pick. They didn't want to go to the next day because they know people would look at the tape and convince themselves to get
yeah.
Lamar Jackson. Like, yo, let's go get him. And they got him, and he's the second best quarterback in the NFL. You
I
know
have
what I mean?
more.
Jalen Hurts,
respect
second
for the
round
Giants
pick.
for trying
Yeah, yeah.
and
Doesn't
not, the problem that ended up happening for the Giants was that would be like the Giants taking Dart at 6.
right.
And that's what happened with Daniel Jones, right? Like if the
Yes.
Giants took Jones in the second round or moved, even if they traded up in the first, but it's when you take a guy in that high, I mean, the expectations and you have to deliver change because of how important these draft picks are. I mean, like you look at the Giants, I mean, they've blown these. I mean, Thibodeau's okay.
Yeah.
But
Yo, you got to hit
he's
on those
not
top picks,
he's
man.
not he hasn't been great.
And
And
it's
I'm
okay to
blanking on
sit a
the
quarterback.
lineman from Alabama that's been horrible that the Giants drafted right
Oh,
after him.
Evan Neal. Right?
Evan Neal. Like
Yeah.
you blow those picks, do you see what it does, right? Like if those guys were great,
Yeah.
Giants have a different trajectory, but that's why
No,
you're
it's true.
losing. You win them 4 or 5 games each year.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And it's okay to sit a quarterback. I mean, I know it's an
This team,
old
yeah.
reference, but like no teams want to sit a quarterback. But if you draft a quarterback late in the first round, you could sit him. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson sat for a little bit. Chad Pennington of the Jets, I think he was drafted in the 20s. I mean, from off the top of my head, it was mid to late first round pick, and he sat behind Testaverde and chilled for a second, and then came out. And he even says it on interviews. He's like, if I played that first year, like what the hell would have happened? You know what I mean? So it's okay to sit, and he'll sit behind 2 veterans, Dart and with Jameis Winston, who can crack him up, and Wilson, and Russell Wilson, who can play some ball. He's just kind of corny, So it'll be a fun year for the Giants. And if they stink, then you have the rookie to come in and make the season exciting. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Just imagine going from being like the Ole Miss quarterback to now being in New York, I guess in New Jersey,
Yeah.
with your quarterback room of Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. Like,
And
I mean,
DeVito.
that's just, I mean,
They're going to cut DeVito, obviously, but
that's just a lot. That's a big change in your life, man.
It is. It is.
That's
He's
a
Ole
life
Miss,
change.
though, right? He's Ole Miss quarterback.
Ole Miss, yeah.
So it's like Eli. So it'll be the same thing.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh,
Yeah.
get ready for all that stuff. Oh,
Right.
God.
Boring white quarterback. No, I'm kidding. And Joe Shane's son put it out on his Instagram story that Jackson Dart highlight reel, and then he took it down and went private, and everybody's like, "Is it a smoke screen?" And it wasn't. And this is the same
How
kid.
far before did he put that up?
Yesterday.
No. Like during.
Oh.
I'm saying what time? Like it
I
wasn't
don't know.
like moments before. It was hours. You're saying.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how long the post was up. Is that what you're asking?
No. I'm asking what time did the post go up? Like what time of day?
Oh, I have no idea.
But
I
during
just
the
know
day
that
is what you're saying.
it was during a time where somebody saw it and was able to screenshot it and then made a story out of it on their social media, and then
You're
everybody
right.
ran with it everywhere. And he was right. And the year before on the Hard Knocks, he said that the Giants should trade up and take Jaden Daniels, and he told his dad to do it.
Yeah. Well.
And now this kid knows what he's doing. So maybe this Jackson Dart is, this kid is like really running the show, for his dad.
Wouldn't that be something, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully he's right. Hopefully
And
they're both right.
Hopefully the Jets are right building their offensive line, and not taking the tight end. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But you know what? New regime, Jets are just going to take their time, and it's okay. It's okay.
Here's a question, and then we'll end with this.
Yeah.
Which New York team do you think is the closest to winning an NBA championship or sports championship? Ooh, Freudian slip. Let's pretend
The Jets are the closest to winning an NBA championship. No,
Let's pretend shot clock operators aren't involved.
No shot clock operators. Okay, so close to winning a championship. I'm going to say the Mets. I'm going to say the Mets. I'm going to say the Mets. And that's not just the prisoner of the moment where they won 6 in a row. I just feel that they have the talent, and then the pitching. They proved they're getting into the new. They're the first team to blaze the trail of saying that starting pitching doesn't matter. Like it matters, but you don't have to invest
enough. But yeah,
right. But you don't have to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into a starting pitcher who's going to pitch 5 innings once every 5 days. Invest in your bullpen, invest in your hitters, and just get some average guys that can give you innings, and then have somebody who's really good, like at the top of the rotation, and that's it.
No,
and that's all you need.
I mean, the Dodgers, even last year, the Dodgers didn't win because of their pitching. I mean,
they had bullpen games in the World Series.
I mean, they have
that's
they have
insane.
given out bajillion dollars to pitching though at the same time. So
Right,
they've done
right.
both, but they just had a lineup that was
Right.
so incredible. And that's what you've seen so far with the Mets. I mean, Soto hasn't. I mean, the Soto effect he's done a lot for Alonso. I think you've seen that naturally just with his numbers and what he's done to lengthen the lineup. But as far as like a production standpoint, Soto hasn't hit like you've expected to for $750 million.
No,
overall
no.
the team is.
But he'll be there. He'll be fine.
Lindor's been smoking hot. They've got the pitching they need. The bullpen's been awesome.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's when you have a
Yeah,
good baseball team during the summer, it's just
that's
nice
fun.
to know you can put them on. Like I was just in Pittsburgh last weekend,
Yeah,
and my family's just like my in-laws and my brother-in-law, who are like the best Pirate fans, are just like, sell the team. We hate you.
right.
So sick of it.
Yeah,
Um,
just stealing money from
right.
fans at the
And
beautiful
it's just like,
ballpark.
and
Yeah.
I'm just there like we have the exact opposite
Well, we
experience.
had what they had for a little while,
Not
but at
not
least the
that
Mets,
extreme. Not that
won
extreme.
sometimes with the
Not that
Wilpons. Yeah,
extreme.
yeah. They'd give
Like
us once a
that
decade to have a
extreme.
good team. Yeah, I think the
Not
Pirates would
that
kill for that.
extreme. Yeah.
No, I
Not
get
that
it.
extreme.
I get it. And it's with baseball teams, and it's nice when your team starts off good and then they have their slump sometime in the middle of June or July, and not like start off like 3-12 and then be like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this team sucks. And then like last year with me, I didn't want to believe it with the Mets for so long because they started off so bad that
Yeah.
I got psyched out, and I didn't want to get myself back hyped up to get let down. But eventually I bought in.
No, I mean the last year's
Yeah.
Mets, they're similar to last year's in a lot of ways. Just kind of
Just
feels
started
like
fast.
maybe a
Yeah.
little better version of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially with the bullpen. I think that's the big key difference for them is the
Well, hopefully
bullpen has
Diaz
been
is
has been
okay. I
lights
know.
out.
I know he got hurt a little bit,
Um,
banged up, but he'll be
yeah,
fine.
but I'm
All
all
right.
right. Bad weather fans in the books. Knicks 2-1 series lead. Nets lottery May 12th, and
And my dad's birthday, May 12th. Shout out to him. Yes.
well, we have to have him on to celebrate. We'll get a
Right, right.
cake.
I have to have him call in at least on his birthday.
We'll have him zoom in. All right, bad weather fans. We'll talk to
Yeah.
y'all episode 208 million
Yes.
261. See
Yes.
y'all. Two thumbs up. Because my son's big into two. He goes two thumbs down or two thumbs up. All right, see y'all.